Hello, and welcome to another episode of Into the Pot, the weekly show where I review different pieces of media, what they meant to me, and how they've changed and added flavor to the stew of my life. Today we're talking about Invincible Season 4. As always, I'll start off with a spoiler free look at what I thought was good, then what was bad, and finish off with spoilers to discuss those themes and details that resonated with me. With that in mind, let's start off with the good. Invincible Season 4 is probably my favorite season so far. It built up so well from the very beginning with season one all the way until this moment. It felt like a huge culmination of everything that we sort of been waiting for. And for that, I loved it. It felt very continuous. I think a lot of the other seasons for Invincible have this problem that it just feels like every episode is a different thing. It's a random, a side adventure that, doesn't ultimately lead to the main thing. Like, for example, episode 4 of this season, when Mark goes to hell. It didn't really feel like it went anywhere. It's like, why are we even here? And that is one of the lowest rated episodes of the entire season, and I can understand why. But at the very core of it, everything else felt super continuous, and it felt like we were smack dab in the story, and this was one continuous story with important fights happening every single moment. And some of the fights and the villains, like Thragg, were just like introduced so well. It was like, who is this guy? This guy's a bozo. And then all of a sudden, the animation happens where he turns into that red skull with the punch, and you're like, damn. And I think they did a phenomenal job just introducing the characters and showcasing everything that happens in this season. I think this season was, again, one of my favorites just because everything had led to this moment. I loved seeing Nolan's backstory. I love seeing, the entire stuff about the Scourge Virus and how that's going to play out in the future. I think this season was probably the biggest tipping point for me. It was like this show now has solidified itself as a amazing run for a animated superhero show, and anything else that happens after this will just be a blessing. It's a benefit that we got more than what we have now, because this was like, oh, perfect. Like, it ended so well. I actually really loved the ending. It felt like everything culminated to this moment, and rather than a fight, there was changes happening. They had to accept things that they were not planning to accept to begin with. And that's all I can really say without, diving into spoilers. I will also say, like, some of the fight scenes and the music that plays throughout and the characters introduced, it felt like a very close knit group. It didn't feel like, again, so many random characters like they were just being introduced. And I really appreciated that a lot. It felt very cohesive. And rather than like, oh, in this previous season, time travelers came and all of a sudden they're like these random new guys. And you're like, where are we going? Like, most of the characters in this entire season were just characters we have known and like grown with over the course of the show. And I really love that. It felt like it finally got into its stride, especially like with Eve and Mark's relationship. That was like, okay, now I really see them together, like perfect. Like they were dating in season 3. Now they're like, this in season 4. So I think everything about the character dynamics, Debbie and Nolan, just like that whole sequence and just seeing how everything works, it was perfect. The character interactions and building up to this, season 4 was a fantastic season. Now that the good's out of the way, though, let's talk about the bad. And I will say, animation has always been something that Invincible has been lacking in quality. And though I don't think it needs animation, it is very much, and though I don't think it needs the highest quality animation, I do notice when they put effort into their scenes. And that's always a big important distinction, because let's be honest, season 1 started off beautifully. The animation was really good. And then they just like went for like this yearly release schedule. And to be honest, the animation did suffer, but I don't really mind. It's shot like a live action show, so there's not a lot of movements happening, but the story is what keeps it together. Overall, like, you can have really, really gorgeous animation with no plot, like Super Mario Galaxy, or you can have really, really good plot and, decent animation. I think Invincible goes hard when it goes hard, but for the most part is not that important to see all the fluid movements and everything else like that. But to be honest, I don't find the animation that big of a problem. I love animators. Let's fund animators. Let's give more jobs to animators. We need more art in this world. So at the end of the day, they did, they picked it up where it mattered most. I will say some of the pacing in the early episodes was like, okay, like we're building to something, whereas the later half of the episodes, 5 through 8, were like perfection, like they were like back to back, just like continuous moments in the Viltrumite War. But the beginning half was like, okay, like we're sort of meandering. Where are we going? And the episode 2 was like, oh, we get this huge backstory. And then episode 3 was like, we're still meandering. And episode 4 was like, what are we doing? So I think the first half of the season was not as strong as the second half, but I did appreciate both for their own respective storylines. And another bad thing, again, this just happens because there's so many characters in this huge cast. Before, it used to be a lot more characters, but I feel like we've streamlined to just the main characters. But yet, there's still many characters that I'm excited to see, like Dinosaurus, Robot, all the characters that like were teased at in this season. I would like to see them fully fleshed in the future, and I'm excited for what they will do. Again, with my video essays about this series, like, I've learned a lot. I've read a lot of the comics since then, so it's really nice to see those characters being teased, but I'm excited to see where this stuff goes. And it's just bad that we have to wait a whole year. And it felt like, oh, they just sprinkled this character and we won't get to see them for like, years, maybe. But now that the bad's out of the way, let's talk about those themes and details that really resonated with me. And let's actually talk about the spoilers. So, every episode had a lot to it. The Viltrumite War was incredible. I think Thragg was a wonderful villain. His power scaling was insane. He like didn't even flinch. And I really like that idea that in order to fully like defeat Thragg, they they did destroy the Viltrum home. They destroyed the whole planet, right? And I'm excited for how that plays out in the future. And if it's anything like the comics, it'll be interesting how they play it in the show, because I know there's pretty big differences. I think they handled it so well. And I just recently did a video essay too about liberalism and Invincible. And though, liberalism has many definitions, I took the definition where it's like opposite to conservatism, where it's being open to new ideas. And the idea that Mark had to say, yeah, crap, like Thragg, you and the Viltrumites can be here. I'm not happy with it, but there's nothing I can do but accept this new avenue. And I'm really excited because a lot of the Viltrumites, will adopt and form relationships in such a healthier way than what they were doing in Viltrum. So again, I like that idea of just like getting rid of the old and focusing on this new and focusing on more like healthier relationships. But also, I really just love all the character relationships that developed this season, like Oliver really befriending and, working together, training with Nolan was very heartwarming. When Debbie yelled at Nolan, I was like, oh my God. When Paul was there for Debbie when she needed him. And then they broke up. I'm like, oh man, they broke up off screen too. Like, that was a bummer. I actually really liked Paul. And I hope that Debbie doesn't go back to Nolan so easily. I know he's trying to make amends for it, but like it's tough. It's very hard to give this review when we are like in the middle of the show. It feels like another 4 seasons, I might have completely different opinions about the entirety of the run. But right now, it just feels like we are at the height. All the characters are very connected. I feel very close to many of these characters, but I'm just waiting for more with all of them, because it just felt like we reached this height and we resolved, and now we're just entering a completely new chapter. Now that we're not focused on the Viltrumite War, the Viltrumites are no longer the primary threat, and let's see everything else that happens. And so this moment right here, right now, I can say confidently, like, I loved season 1. Season 2 was a bit of a miss for me. Season 3 was really great in the last half. And now season 4 just felt really good. And overall, this whole package of the first 4 seasons felt great. I think it was an incredible show. And then now, I'm excited to see what happens with the rest of it. So, with all that in mind, I would happily give Invincible Season 4 an 8.5 out of 10. Now, I will say, I did like it a lot. There was a lot of pacing issues that I did have. There was the episode, where he was in hell. That was weird. There was a lot of moments that were just not the best, but I would happily give it an 8.5. Even if I take out the entire Hell episode, it would jump to a 9 because it was a really great season. I'm happy that it's the best season for me so far. So, with that in mind, I would like to see the rest of it, and hopefully, you and I both like it a ton. So, there you have it. I gave you my thoughts and opinions about what Invincible Season 4 meant to me. And now I want to hear what you all think about it down in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with my opinions and the general consensus about it? Let me know, and if you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more. As always, check the links in the description for my main video essay channel and my Patreon to support the channel and recommend media for me to review next. Thank you all to my current Patreon members whose memberships keep this channel afloat. I am so grateful you are all here with me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.